Hello, Herman Deal the Real Deal here. Today I want to talk about how new scientists came out with this article talking about how keto diet, carnivore-ish type of diet, helps tremendously with many mental health conditions. Okay, like they're rediscovering it like, wow, maybe there's something to this keto diet. Maybe it's not just for weight loss. And the shocking thing for me, quite honestly, is the fact that scientists are still surprised by this. Like, it just kind of blows my mind. And this is something where someone like Mr. Skeptical would say, oh, well, if a keto carnivore diet is so good for mental health, then why haven't we heard about it before? Well, we haven't heard about it before because there's no money to be made. There's no pharmaceutical companies funding the research. But in reality, about a year ago, this book came out, written by a PhD scientist, how change your diet, change your mind, how eating a more ketogenic, carnivore type of diet will greatly improve mental health, greatly decrease anxiety, decrease depression, like dramatically sometimes, really dramatically. And so this just becomes really, really important. And it's been going on. We've known this like over 100 years ago in the 1920s. We started doing experiments with children with epilepsy. Their epilepsy would go away if they would eat less and less food, meaning that their body would start going into ketosis. And then they found a way, if they only ate protein and very little carbs, that they didn't have to starve themselves, and the epilepsy could dramatically decrease. Now, why haven't we heard of that? Why don't we do that in today's day and age? Because drugs came out that decreased the epilepsy. So they thought, oh, well, if we have drugs for it now, then we don't have to worry about going on a keto diet. It's just nuts. I mean, it's crazy. But in any case, it's still a good sign. It's still good that disinformation is getting out there, okay, that scientists are discovering. You may go to your doctor now, and him, instead of criticizing the keto carnivore diet, maybe he'll have something nice to say about it. Oh, yeah, you could try it, but we want to be aware of the traps, okay? We want to be aware of certain traps and certain ways that pharmaceutical companies and media can communicate things and still make it look like it's fringe, like it's out there, like it's something new. And it's not really scientific yet. And some people have gotten results, but we haven't done large double-blind studies. Well, those studies are never going to get done. Never. Okay. So I'm going to go through a few pages here in the article, highlight some very, very interesting facts. So here in the bottom left highlighted portion here, comfort food, it says the keto diet is more than just a faddish way to lose weight. It is also having transformative results, tackling conditions from depression to anorexia. And people might think, what the heck how can eating more meat help anorexia? Well, remember, eating meat, eating a diet, a carnivore keto diet, is basically foundational. Just about anything can improve. It doesn't mean everything will, but many things will because it's foundational to overall health. It's like sleeping well. You get sick, what do? You rest more. Duh. And maybe you got sick in the first place because your diet is bad. Duh. That should make common sense. And then we have here the part that's highlighted. This is very interesting. A doctor says, we've wasted 30 years thinking about dopamine and serotonin as the sole targets for psychiatric medications, says Daniel Smith, a psychiatrist in the UK. This is a new paradigm. It's exciting. Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, I've known about it for years, and I think it's kind of obvious, but it's good that now the scientists, or at least some of them, are getting excited. This is a good sign. Now, something that I find a little bit funny, ironic, or I guess maybe I'm being a little bit cynical, is where I highlight here in the bold on this page here. It's possible the keto diet brings us closer to the diet our bodies evolved to expect. But to say it's possible, it's more like, is there any other explanation? I mean, Don't scientists know that we used to have giant mammoth, sloths, camels in the Americas, that we have killed them all off? That for most of human history, we didn't ride horses, we killed and ate the horses. Took a long time for a human, only about 3,000 years ago, for human to finally realize, hey, wait a second, don't kill this animal. Maybe we could ride it. If we can somehow tame it, we can ride the horse instead of eating it. We have killed off so many animals. It's freaking incredible. And to say it's possible the keto diet, meaning it's possible that eating meat uh, helped us evolve. It's not possible. It's like the only logical freaking explanation that there is. Never mind, is it possible? And then the other part I have highlighted here, how exactly ketone bodies rebalance these neurotransmitters isn't clear. One possibility, however, is that they simply provide enough energy for the brain to do its job properly. I wouldn't say that's a possibility. I would say that's like a definite. In any case, ketone bodies are harder to produce in the body than glucose, but once formed, are more efficient fuel source for the mitochondria, netting 20% more ATP per molecule. But I feel like the scientists are just making things more complicated than they need to be. I mean, when you look at this chart, if you look at the blue, carbohydrates give us 4 calories of energy. Proteins give us 4. Fats give us 9 calories of energy. And then you also know the fact that the brain is 60% made out of fat when you take out the water. So, like, hello, of course, eating more fatty meat, more fats is going to make the brain produce more energy. Maybe we don't have it exactly figured out, but we know this. We know that we get 9 calories of fats out of energy. And yeah, maybe it's a process. Maybe if you've been a vegetarian and you've eaten very little meat, it's going to take a little while for you to adapt to digesting meat. And maybe, digesting meat takes longer than it does to digest carbohydrates. But once your body adapts to it and you become fat adapted and you're into ketosis, then your brain's going to function better. And it just makes common sense that it would. We don't really need to know. We don't need to make it more complicated than that. Fats give us 9 calories of energy. That's a more efficient fuel source. The brain is going to function better. And here I have another part that's highlighted where a doctor points to the fact that physical metabolic conditions such as diabetes, obesity, and insulin resistance substantially increase the risk of depression. The reverse is also true. People with mental health conditions are at greater risk of diabetes, obesity, and heart disease. Yeah, like duh, of course. I mean, yes, if you're obese, are you more likely to be depressed because you don't look so great? Sure. But the fact that you're able to get obese is also affecting your brain. Your brain is not able to function as well as it could if you were on a better diet, which also means that you would also lose weight and your brain would function better. So I hope all of this is making sense. And, the main question I keep asking is, why is medication utilized first? A person has depression or anxiety and they're giving medications first. Why aren't they told to get on a ketogenic carnivore diet first? That would make a whole lot more sense. Get on the proper diet first that helps your brain function better. If that doesn't work, then maybe try medication. I mean, medication has a place, but it should be done after. We're like putting the cart before the horse. We're not doing things in proper sequence, proper order. And think of it this way: ketosis, a carnivore type of diet, it's not a newly discovered hack. It's ancient software. It's how our bodies evolved. Literally, our brains were able to grow and we became human because we ate cooked meat when we started controlling fire, and we could start cooking the meat, killing germs and bacteria. Our stomach was able to shrink and our brain was able to grow. The expensive tissue hypothesis, it makes a lot of sense, kind of like evolution. extremely difficult to argue with. Like you can't really argue with it. It just makes so much logical sense. So in any case, I hope, the idea here is to make this easy for you to realize out there that you should be on a ketogenic carnivore diet, for you to realize that, and this really irks me, this really makes me mad, like when people talk about they're on a GLP-1 drug and not only have they lost weight, but they feel so good. They're happier. Like, oh my God, they're happier. Like, wow. No, a lot of people on a carnivore diet are also happier because they're full, they're satiated, their brain is functioning better. And the GLP-1 pathway already gets naturally made when we eat fruit, when we get into ketosis. For that, look at my video, one of the videos I have down there where I talk about how the GLP-1 drugs are just copying a carnivore ketogenic diet. In any case, the idea is that this makes it easier for you to stick to on a carnivore-ish type of diet, a ketogenic type of diet, making it easy for you. Avoid the sweets, avoid the junk food, avoid the bread, avoid the beans, avoid the vegetables and fruit. They're not as great as you think they are. Eat the meat first, eat the animal products. You will be healthier because of it. Thank you for watching. I'll be back again Thursday with Mr. Skeptical and next Monday with another video. Bye.